Hello, I'm Henry Keane and we are UATV English. We give you the real news from Ukrainian perspective. Please help us defeat Russia by watching this very episode. Please comment and subscribe to our channel while watching it. It really helps us to make Ukrainian voice to be heard worldwide. Welcome to the News Pulse. Watch in the episode. Ukraine says hello, assault Russia with UAVs. Will Putin face 500% tariffs? Russian hackers accessed border cameras. I don't know, maybe we should send some calculators as a gift to Moscow. It seems they have a hard time keeping up with counting how many actual Ukrainian drones they shot down in the past 24 hours. As early as the afternoon of May 21st, the mayor of the Russian capital, Moscow, Sergei Sobyanin, began destroying drones with his bare words. His first report about repelling an attack of 3 drones appeared about 1 at night, per Moscow time. By midnight, Sobyanin had to make 8 more announcements. At that time, the mayor counted already 27 eliminated drones. Sobyanin's Telegram channel stayed active throughout the night into the morning of May 22nd. Overnight, he reported another 26 destroyed drones. Explosions were actually reported over Tula for the second time, as first attack happened just the day before, with locals reporting drone and interceptions over Novomoskovsk, the second largest city in Tula Oblast, home to a large chemical plant and several other industrial facilities. The Telegram channel Baza reports at least 19 more explosions. There were also reports of drone raids in Kaluga and Lipetsk oblasts. A particularly high number of UAVs were detected near the Kubinka airfield, which had previously already caught fires. In addition, the towns of Podolsk, Krasnoarmeysk, Chekhov and other cities in the Moscow region came under the attack. Russia's Federal Air Transport Agency, Rosaviation, announced flight restrictions at the airports in Domodedovo, Sheremetyevo and Vnukovo, and Zhukovsky just as well. This is a so-called the carpet plan, an emergency aviation protocol. According to the Axelenova Plus Telegram channel, UAVs will keep spooking Russia a little longer. As of the afternoon of May 22, drones are still being spotted in some places.
There are continued sporadic sightings of UAVs of various types over the border regions of Russia. According to our observations, they are usually cheap drones like the Chaklin Sorcerer model. The tactic is fairly clear. The enemy's air defences are being drained, after which heavier drones are launched. We are expecting new waves. From the Axelenova Plus Telegram post.
All these G7 talks, all these coming back to the USSR and rebuilding a Soviet empire, and anything at all that you hear coming from the Kremlin as soon as they open their collective mouth is lies. Lies and an attempt to shift in emphasis. An emphasis to what? Well, the idea of the West to end the war in Ukraine was clear and concrete, unconditional, 30-day ceasefire. Key word is unconditional. Should have been that way. And Russia simply laughed at that, like literally, during a phone conversation with Donald Trump. What we have learned during this conversation, that Trump likes Putin, Putin likes Melania. What was the point behind this conversation? That we don't know. To keep Trump happy? Well, I remind you, Donald Trump was talking to an international criminal at large, indicted by the International Criminal Court.
Well, I want to thank everybody. We just spent 2.5 hours talking to Vladimir Putin, and I think some progress has been made. It's a terrible situation going on over there. 5,000 young people every single week are being killed. So hopefully we did something. We also spoke to the heads of most of the European nations, and we're trying to get that whole thing wrapped up.
And while the collective West fails to act, Putin acts instead. Putin discharges another portion of Russian propaganda. Oh my God, Russia wants to be back in G7 and USSR and rebuild the ill empire, and the world talks about it. Media copy-pastes Russian narratives, and this is exactly what Putin wants. No one is talking about a 30-day ceasefire anymore. Donald Trump failed to even mention it during a phone call. So Trump's electorate, they clearly see now, Russia is not a threat. You can have a wonderful conversation with it. They do not see Russia as a threat because they're not looking. And this is the main reason why populists win all over the world in elections. They offer a way not to call a problem and call it a wonderful phone conversation. While in reality it is shifting emphasis from what should be obvious. Russia wants war. Full stop. Well, not maybe full stop, but it is a great relief to see the United States is not a full dictatorship and is way more than just one man having a wonderful conversation with a dictator. The United States Senate is preparing to approve a major sanctions bill aimed at Russia in the coming days if dictator Vladimir Putin shows no genuine commitment to peace in Ukraine. The legislation, spearheaded by Senators Graham and Blumenthal, has gained strong bipartisan, which is very important support, with 81 co-sponsors in the Senate, well above the 67 vote threshold needed to override a presidential veto.
While we yearn for peace, it is increasingly clear to us, and a supermajority of the Senate, that Putin is playing games. The United States Senate stands ready to act if these games continue. From the joint statement of the U.S. Senators' bipartisan group.
The proposed sanctions would activate if Russia undermines a future peace agreement or refuses to engage in general in good faith negotiations, according to American lawmakers. The bill also imposes 500% tariffs on countries supporting Russia's war efforts, particularly those importing oil from Moscow's shadow fleet, targeting China as a key enabler of Russia's war economy. The senators warned that while the still hope for peace exists, but Putin is playing games. Should he continue to stall or manipulate the negotiation process, the Senate stands ready to act decisively. Ukrainian economist Oleg Ustenko estimated that if passed, the sanctions could cost Russia up to 150 billion immediately, nearly 40% of its annual military budget. And right after that, surprise, surprise, who could ever have thought about it? Dictator Putin spits on whatever America says openly and acts by setting the stage for a renewed campaign to seize Ukraine's Sumy Oblast. During a May 20th meeting with local officials in Kursk, Putin was happy to hear a proposal by regional head Pavel Zolotarev to create a buffer zone, whatever that means, in Sumy. This rhetoric echoes threats made by Russia's delegation during recent peace talks in Istanbul, where they proposed seizing Sumy as part of a broader security zone. Analysts at the Institute for the Study of War warn that this points to ongoing Russian ambitions that go way beyond current territorial holdings, and that Putin will use such advances on the front line to demand territorial concessions during any future negotiations. What's with that wonderful conversation, Mr. Trump? Despite official claims of Russian control over Kursk Oblast, fighting continues in there, with Ukrainian forces still active in the area. Institute Study of War notes that the Russian military currently lacks the capability to seize a major city like Sumy, given its failure to capture similar urban areas in over 2 years. And while Ukraine fights Russia on the battlefield now, the aggressor prepares more hybrid operations against other European states. Russian military intelligence has reportedly hacked into civilians' cameras across NATO countries bordering Ukraine, giving Moscow a direct line of sight into Western arms deliveries. Wow, so much for cybersecurity. According to The Guardian, the UK's National Cybersecurity Centre confirmed that the Russians' GRU's infamous Unit 26165, also known as APT-28 or Fancy Bear, accessed roughly 10,000 cameras near railways, military sites and key infrastructure zones.
Russia tried to hack into border security cameras to spy on and disrupt the flow of Western aid entering Ukraine, the UK's intelligence services and its allies have claimed. A unit of Russia's military intelligence services is accused of using a host of methods to target organizations delivering foreign assistance by hacking into cameras at crossings and railway stations and near military installations. From The Guardian publication.
The breaches, which began in 2022, primarily affected civilian systems in Ukraine, but also extended to Romania, Poland, Hungary, and Slovakia. GRU agents reportedly used phishing emails and even brute force password attacks to infiltrate both government and private camera networks. And they obviously succeeded. Finland is fast-tracking the construction of a new high-tech border barrier with Russia as regional tensions mount over Moscow's continued aggression in Ukraine. The 140-kilometer fence, now partially completed, will include advanced surveillance systems and artificial intelligence-powered cameras. These cameras are designed to detect and tell human activity from animals.
Finland has completed the first 35 kilometers, 22 miles, of a 4.5-meter, 15-foot high fence. It is building on its closed eastern border with Russia to stop migrants from crossing via the wilderness, the Finnish border guard said on Wednesday. From the Reuters publication.
As of today, 35 kilometers of fencing have been already erected between the Vaalimaa and Parikkala crossings, with full completion expected by late 2026. Lieutenant Colonel Isa Veikkanen says that the new AI system significantly reduces false alarms, streamlining response times for Finnish border forces. The fence will also feature day and night monitoring equipment and a loudspeaker system to issue real-time instructions to possible trespassers. Construction improvements drawn from lessons learned during a pilot build in Imatra include a taller and more reinforced fence structure to prevent unauthorized crossings. Well, that seems to be it for today. Thank you so very much for watching. You are important to us. So is your comment. That matters. Your share, that is much appreciated. And your subscription, we are craving. Because it helps us a lot to be heard worldwide. It was News Pulse. Stay tuned for more. See you at the next beat and goodbye.